Fought like a fighter, and he won this damn fight.
Right.
This is a disgrace.
Listen, Teddy, I just grabbed the score sheet from the ring
disgrace
announcer.
here. There should be an investigation. This is what's wrong with boxing. This is what chases our great fans away from this great sport.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan, and this is Ade, and welcome back to another edition of Box Talk. We've got a big card on Liverpool on the
12th of July.
12th of July. Nearly forgot. On the 12th of July,
Okay.
featuring Tony Bellew, Nathan Cleverly, Anthony Joshua, and Callum Smith.
So many others.
There's loads on the card. It's a very big card, very stacked card. But are the opposition quality? Is it a card full of names or just suspects? Ade?
That's a good one. Suspects. It's a mixed bag. It's almost it's the last Matchroom card of the year. They kind of pack up for summer. So I guess he's given the crowd what they want. And he's been doing it a lot this year where he's just filling out these cards with almost like potentials in the likes of Joshua and Luke Campbell, people that are on the comeback trail, Bellew Cleverly, and Callum Smith, again, potentials. There's no real banger in there, if that makes any sense. There isn't like a Cal Brook, for example, in this card. But nonetheless, it's a good card. It's a good mix, and they've got a lot of people that I've got big question marks about them. We saw Ricky Burns slip up a couple of weeks back now. So a lot of people, although there might not be household names they're fighting, I think we've seen recently in boxing, you could slip up.
No, you can slip up. I love boxing. I love cards which just cover loads of different aspects and different things. But I like competitive fights.
Yeah.
So as much as I like a good card where I can sit and say, yo, there's loads of people on the card, it's nice to watch. It keeps your hours busy.
Yeah.
But I want fights that are compelling, that are entertaining. It doesn't have to be a mismatch or a blowout or a knockout. Yeah. Just quality opposition. Yeah. And looking at the card, I'm seeing a couple of things that could be interesting, but I'm seeing a couple of things that could be well, is it really worth it? And I don't want to start on these belts already because me and Ade always got this beef with these belts. But Ade, you saw the fights for Cleverly and Bellew. They both got international belts attached to them. Bellew's guy seems like he's quite a decent fighter. Decent record, 26 wins, 23 knockouts, 2 losses. Looks a bit of a puncher. Fought the same guys that Bellew fought Brodov in his last fight. So, good guy. The guy Cleverly's fighting now is for the WBA international title. And this guy's record doesn't look too tough. The guy's 15 and 4. A couple of knockouts, 3 knockouts on his record. There's not a guy that you feel should fill out a card.
Yeah, it's strange. I think Bellew mentioned it before. When he fought Brodov before, correct me if that's the wrong name, and Cleverly fought someone who really was a light heavyweight, Corbin. It was mentioned like they're pushing Bellew in terms of, okay, you're fighting real cruiserweights. Yeah. And it almost seems to me, and it's not Cleverly's fault. Yeah. I guess we say it's not Cleverly's fault, but they seem to be kind of not really pushing Cleverly, which is why I don't like the idea of them two fighting each other next if they both win. Bellew's ready. Cleverly's not ready. Yeah. Mentally, he's not ready. He's not ready. And I just don't like the idea of they both win, they fight each other. Yeah. Don't like that at all, which is why they're both fighting for these stupid belts.
You know, the thing about it, we always said that Bellew comes to fight. We both got a little thing for Bellew saying he comes to fight, puts on a show. But like I said, let's be honest, he's not the most technically or skillful person. And I can see where someone like Cleverly wants that type of fight because you think they could outclass him and bring him back on the comeback trail. But Cleverly still looked scared. When he fought Corbin, even though he got the knockout, I even tweeted that same thing. Not impressed. I'm not sold on Nathan Cleverly's comeback. And disappointment he has now, I still have the same feeling already. Even if he blows him out within 1 round or 2 rounds, I have not seen no substance in his opponent to make me feel confident.
See, the funny thing is, on a comeback trail, these are perfect opponents. They are. This is the guy that was a light heavyweight, and in his head he was a light heavyweight king. Yeah. We all knew he wasn't, but in his head he was. He got blown out by Kovalev. It's kind of similar to what we said about Ricky Burns in terms of Ricky Burns has come back very quick in terms of taking top elite fighters. Cleverly isn't doing that. Yeah. The only thing for Cleverly, I feel like Eddie's rushing him. Yeah. I think these are almost the kind of fights you want if your confidence isn't right. Get a couple of good knockout wins on your record, and then take the step up because the cruiserweights are huge men. No. So it's almost like take that step up slowly. I like what he's doing with Cleverly, but I just don't think Cleverly's mentally ready for the game anymore, and that's that.
Oh no, I agree with you to a point. I understand what you're saying. The problem I have is that Cleverly was a world champion. So I'm not saying you're supposed to come back and fight the toughest guys or whatever.
Yeah.
But fighting guys that you're supposed to blow over, the guys that wouldn't really be sparring partners for you, does not make a match for me.
You're right. No, I'll give you that. If he was coming back though and fighting at his natural weight, light heavy, then I'd say you're not spot on. What you're saying is correct.
Yeah.
You're a world champion, almost like Ricky Burns again. I hate to mention it again, where you have to come back and if you're fighting guys in your own weight, yes, because he's fighting guys that naturally probably are a stone, 2 stone heavier, you know, and then boiling themselves down. I can understand the idea of taking it very slowly because he got blown out by Kovalev, and mentally that's a lot to take. Whereas Bellew, you can see Bellew's a lot more confident than Cleverly, so I can understand why they're trying to rush Bellew, which is why I don't understand the necessity for these guys to fight each other if they win next. I just don't get it. I think it's poor, in fact. I think it's poor because the cruiserweight division's got big fights out there. So you don't need to rush and put these two together. They can go on different paths, really, and then come fight each other when one of them might get a world title.
Like you said, be it they're still new to the division, they both can legit be top 10 contenders with the right fight.
Yeah, why kill one?
Right fight. So why kill one of them straight away when they're both young, they've both got potential, they've both got skill? Do we need a prediction for these fights?
I think you do. And the reason I think you do is that Bellew's in there with a puncher. Yeah. And Bellew got hurt in his last fight. Let's not forget, the referee kind of saved him. I can't remember what it was. We watched it together. I think it was round 6 or 7, where it was a low blow that wasn't really a low blow, and he got a minute to rest. Look, these guys are fighting guys that are heavyweights that come down, really. Big guys that walk around at 220, 230.
One of the guys is coming up, though.
Oh, is it? Is that Cleverly's guy?
I think one of the Cleverly guys coming up from light heavy.
Okay. So, no, I think it's Santos that's coming up. Who's Stevenson beat. So I think he's coming up from light heavy. But these guys can punch, regardless. So I think, look, both of them win, but they've got to win spectacularly. You want to see knockouts. For the crowd to get excited about a Bellew Cleverly rematch, possible 2015 December maybe, then both of them have got to win spectacular.
I'm going for Cleverly by KO in 2. I don't think it's going to last much longer than that. I mean, again, not being bad, it is strictly a set-up fight. Bellew, I think it's going to go longer, possibly points decision. Is it 12 rounder, so it'll be a points decision most probably. I think Bellew can get the knockout, but this guy is a puncher. Bellew's not silly. He's not going to go and start trading early in the fight. He's going to try to box, keep it long, and try to get stoppage late. And I think the guy must edge it and survive. Okay, Bellew can punch, but Bellew's not a one-punch quitter.
Okay, very, very quickly. Time's down on this one. Andy Joshua is fighting. Step up. People have said, oh, yeah, well, you know, Skelton hasn't looked good in his last 4 or 5 fights. Regardless, Skelton for your 6th fight, I think it is. It's not a bad opponent on paper. In the flesh, it might be different. But on paper, Skelton he marauds, he comes forward. He's not a pretty boxer. This will probably, more than anything, this will show the kind of skill set Andy Joshua's got in terms of being able to defend that movement, speed, punch power. I think we're going to see a bit more from Andy Joshua than we've seen in the last 2 or 3 fights.
I'm not too sure. I understand what you're saying. I think, again, Skelton's style is not nice. It'll give you a heart check and a gut check to know that he's in the ring, he's going to be a bulldog and chase you down. I think Cleverly's going to get I think Joshua's going to get an early stoppage in this fight. I don't think it's going to go more than 2 or 3 rounds. And the reason why I think it's going to be that quick is because Skelton was never a great athlete. He's a tough guy, because I'm trying to say he makes it hard and difficult, but he's got slower and he's got heavier feet. And those clubbing shots, he pumps his feet too much. It's a type of fight where someone like Joshua, who's an athlete, who's fast, he's nimble, has got power. If you stand still, he's going to tag you. And I don't think, as tough as he is, I don't think Skelton could take that type of beating or the type of power no more.
Okay, moving on very quickly. We've got 2 big super middleweights on the card. Rocky Fielding, that's almost been overshadowed, I think, slightly by Callum Smith. And the Smith brothers, i.e. Paul Smith as well, that's super middleweight. What's your thoughts on Callum Smith? A lot of hype about him. Going into, a lot of people I think he's going to move into light heavyweight. I think he's huge at the weight already. The British title will be vacant very soon because Paul Smith's going to fight after Abraham. Does Callum Smith go for the British title in a couple of fights?
Potentially, yes. He's got the skill. Okay, Callum Smith, I like Callum Smith. I think he's got the right skill set and the right style for his size. Where some people don't use the attributes. He's used to be a boxer puncher. He uses his jab well. He moves well. He's got good balance. Got that wide stance as well. So I think he has the potential more than out of all the other Smith brothers, in my opinion, to go the longer journey. But again, it's kind of a contradiction now. Where I'm saying we were saying how the rush. They're giving Cleverly easy fights. I think Callum Smith is on the same type of track where I said I think they should keep it easy for him right now. Just because you've got skill and potential, you don't have to rush it. He's not a former world champion. He's not a guy at the highest level. He's still building. Let him get those rounds under his belt because as good as he's doing, you need the rounds. And once you reach a certain level, you cannot go backwards.
Yeah, the problem for him, and it's almost a strange problem, it's almost a problem a lot of prospects have when they're coming out, is that he's blowing everyone out very quickly. So you almost want to see him go to the well a bit. So I agree. Let's not rush him. You don't need to rush him yet. He's still young, still got so much potential. He's growing into the weight still. Although he's a big guy, he's still growing into the weight in terms of his muscular and everything like that. So
you can't be British champion and fight prospects. You can't be European champion and fight the British level guys. You can't be world champion and fight the European guys. You've got to fight your level of classes. So once you pass that level, that level's gone. That level's totally gone. So, but I think big things to watch for Callum Smith. In my opinion, him and Chris Eubank Jr. are the two guys that I see carrying the British sport going forward as it stands right now in the next 2-3 years.
Interesting, because they're both not too far in terms of weights above them. Wrapping up the video very quickly, we've got two other big prospects. One that I'm Anthony Ogogo and obviously Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell makes his return. His dad obviously got diagnosed with cancer. He kind of took some time out. He's coming back. Looks very good. Again, not rushing it. I think they're putting him on an 8-rounder again or a 6-rounder. So we're expecting him to kind of run through his opponent, really, aren't we?
Yeah, again, I say emotional things is hard. I mean, especially when you're doing a combat sport where you deal with emotion in the ring and if you train, you have to go through that pain barrier. So I think being in training would have helped him get his head clear for his dad's sickness. But again, it's a fight where we know what's going to happen. We know it's out there to keep him active, keep him busy, keep him sharp, and that's what you do with young prospects.
What do you do when you look at Luke Campbell? Because we say young prospects, and this is very interesting in terms of Lomachenko is only a year older than him, I believe. Now, I'm not going to say you rush him like they've done with Lomachenko. That's ridiculous. Lomachenko is a freak of nature in terms of the way they rushed him. It was a risk. It paid off. I mean, do you look at Luke Campbell, though, and say, all right, look, you're way above the guys you're fighting, way above them. In terms of the fact that he's got Olympian experience, the way he's come back as, unlike Callum Smith, he's come back as a gold medalist. Do you put him on the same path as Callum Smith in terms of fight, careful fights? Or do you say, you got to jump a bit now? You got to jump a bit?
No. I was not very happy with Lomachenko getting his 2 title shots the way he did. Everyone knows this already. And it wasn't because he's not qualified, because he's a scary skillful fighter to prove, but he didn't earn it. But the difference with Lomachenko and Callum Smith, Luke Campbell, is that Lomachenko was a long-term amateur, i.e. he was an Olympian, 300-plus amateur fights, world championships, Olympic Games, gold medals. He had a full career, where Luke Campbell didn't have that type of full career. And that's, I think, the difference is. I'm not sure what Luke Campbell's exact record was as an amateur, but he was not as well-rounded as Lomachenko.
Okay, finally, last person on the card I'm going to talk about, Anthony Ogogo.
Yeah.
It's a strange one, Anthony Ogogo. Signed with Golden Boy in America. Good move. A lot of people have said that. But he almost seems to have lost that fan base that he could have built in England. And I think he could have built a huge fan base in England. So I don't know what arrangement the Golden Boy got where he seems to be fighting on the Matchroom cards anyway. Should he have just signed to Matchroom?
No, see, the problem you have with Anthony Ogogo is that I think as a business thing, it's a smart move. Yeah. You're already British. You already got a gold Olympic medal, bronze medal over here. So you're already established over here to an extent. Yeah. You're going to America because that's where you want to go for the big fights and make the money. So I understand why he signed with them. And Golden Boy do have a Golden Boy UK. Yeah. The problem they have is that they're not getting him out there enough to build it on either side. Yeah. He's never active. I mean, for a guy in his youth and his ability, he should be fighting every month, every 6 weeks, and he's not doing that. So he's not getting no build in the UK, in the US, or in the UK. And then what happens is what you're saying, where you're getting eroded, whereas now his name's come to the bottom of the bunch. Yeah. When now no one actually goes, oh yeah.
Anthony Ogogo's on the card.
Yeah, I mean.
And they just add him to the card. Look, guys, July 12th, it's the final Matchroom card. It's a good card. It's a good card in terms of names. Look, in terms of competitive fights, if you're going to watch this fight, watch the card for competitive fights, you might be disappointed. But nonetheless, we get to see a lot of people on the card. We can't complain. There's at least 7 or 8 names on the card, in terms of former champions, European champions, British champions. There's quite a lot on the card. Olympic champions. There's a lot on the card. I for one can't wait to see the Anthony Joshua Matt Skelton fight, just because I want to see where Anthony Joshua is. Yeah. If he destroys Matt Skelton, then he needs to move quick. Heavyweight is a lot different. You don't really. I don't think he needs to play around for 25, 30 fights. He can move after 15 or 16 fights, and let's see where he goes. What do you think, guys? Look, on the card, Bellew, Cleverly, Callum Smith. I can name all of them. I'm not going to. Give us your thoughts on the card. Is it a card worth watching? Are you going to watch it? Tell us. Email us also at
BoxTalk@hotmail.co.uk, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at BoxTalkUK.
And also, guys, don't forget to subscribe, and also remember to check our stuff as well on ringnews24.com. Guys, thanks a lot for watching BoxTalk.